Hey, what's up, y'all? What is today? Happy Wednesday, November the 19th. Wanted to highlight a quick trade that I took today so far. It's around 10:37 a.m. Eastern. But I wanted to share with you a quick trade that I took and, kind of why I took the trade and why I opted to get out of the trade. So let me go ahead and first share the screen here, but let me do a quick disclaimer. This content is for informational, educational purposes only. Nothing shared in this video should be interpreted as financial advice, investment guidance, or recommendation to buy or sell any security. All trading involves risk, and you're responsible for your own decisions. Always conduct your own research, evaluate your personal risk tolerance, and consult with a licensed financial professional before making any financial or investment decisions. Now that I have gotten that taken care of, wanted to take a quick moment to highlight one of the trades that I took using the strategy that we discussed as a part of our time together in the beta trading group. And so I took this morning's trade on NVDA, and the reason why I took this trade is because, first of all, on the 4 hour, let's go 4 hour chart. It looks like we were bouncing into one of the zones that provided some strong support. So I wanted to keep my eyes open to the reaction or for the reaction of this particular instrument, which is NVIDIA. And so I was keeping my eyes open just because we were, reaching a level where it could potentially reject. And so drawing out the levels, of course, as we traditionally do, I did that. And then when I dropped down to the 15-minute, and to start the day, let me just take this off the chart so it doesn't become confusing. All right, so real quick, we opened up right here. We pushed down, trying to approach the zone below. It rejected, and then we pushed up. I didn't take this trade right here because it was the first 15 minutes of the trading day. So I traditionally don't do that. So it pushed up, came down, opened here. It tapped the zone below and provided a push up. Once again, I typically don't take trades. I will periodically take a trade once it's rejected off the zone, but I didn't take this one. I waited until we got here and we began to break into this upper zone. We were able to then see that 21, the 21, which is the yellow line, and the orange line, the 21 was starting to make its way up. And so sometimes I will take a smaller position as I anticipate a shift in momentum taking place. And so once we got here, once we broke into the zone right here, I took a small entry because once again, we hadn't really started the momentum up that way. But I opted to at least take a smaller position as we broke into the zone because we were bullish coming out of this first candle, and we were bullish going into the zone. And so I took a small position, pushed up here. I was like, okay, let me hold on to the position. It pushed back down. It retested the bottom of this zone. It never broke the zone. So I stayed in the trade. It pushed up back here. The next candle opened, and then it pushed here, and we started to see some resistance. And so, if you remember correctly, when we start talking about auction market theory, either we're balanced or imbalanced. And so for the temporary short-term period, this right here is considered to be balanced. And so instead of waiting, which I could wait, right, to get to the top part of this zone, I said, you know what? I'm going to take my profits here. And I did. And so right now we're continuing the consolidation in this particular zone. And so I got in as a part of auction market theory, right? We were moving, we were imbalanced, which means we were pushing up. We entered into one of our zones right here. I got in for a long position in the lower half of the zone, which is one of my requirements. And then the first target would be about 50% of the zone. And so we finally got up there, and these arrows are terrible, but you get the point. We got here, and then we started this consolidation motion. So I decided to get out because I'm not sure if we're going to consolidate, push back down, and head to this zone, or if we're going to consolidate and continue to push upwards. But right now, I prefer to go ahead since we have reached 50% of the zone. I decided to take my profits right about here and close out of the trade. So I got in and out pretty quickly. So I think I got in around 950 something. I endured this 10 o'clock candle. And once we got to the 10:15, so between 10:15 and 10:30, I was able to get back close to the top of this resistance level and ultimately took my profit. So that's kind of a day in the insights or a day in the life of a trade that I took. Wasn't super huge or anything like that, but it did allow me to really execute. And for those of you who begin this process and say, you know what, you like to trade between the zones, which you are more than welcome to do, you might have caught this trade starting, coming out of this zone right here. You might have caught it and took it all the way up to the middle of this zone. So be willing to, kind of do your own knowledge exploration and to see if leaning on the top of zones and taking those up to the next zone bodes well for how you interpret the market. Just know that between the two zones, there are limited buyers and sellers. And so it may come up halfway and reject back down. But there are times when this works. I just choose to wait till we break into a zone where we know that there are buyers and sellers. I wait for acceptance in the zone, and then I take the trade, targeting 50% of the zone as my first target, and then hoping to get to the opposite side as a full cycle of that particular zone. Unfortunately, we didn't get there quickly as a part of this trade I took today, but just know that that's something that you can look out for. And when you begin to see this level of resistance right here, it may be a good sign for you to just say, you know what, let me take my profits and keep going. If you're willing to swing, then this is just part of the process, and you allow your analysis to say, okay, I'm gonna hold through this consolidation, and if we get to the opposite side, then I've won that trade. If I get to the bottom side of this trade, and I typically wait till we get about 50% between the zones before I say, you know what, my analysis was wrong. Let me cut the trading and accept my small loss. So take this as some guidance as you are going into your, kind of your lessons and learning and doing some practicing on your paper trading accounts. It's okay to get halfway through a zone and realize, hey, that there's some resistance. Let me go ahead and take my profit. And this is an example of why and how I did that today. So just a quick look at a trade I took today. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. As always, I'm excited about you taking this journey and look forward to seeing some of the progress that you're making. Feel free to share your charts, any of your questions in the school community, and we will see if we can get those addressed for you. So once again, have a good day, and we will talk soon. All right, peace.